Alright, good evening and welcome everyone to Green White Checker TV. Tonight we have the Area 51 Superspeedway Cup Series here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. So you start off obviously with our point standings coming into tonight's event. Right now 10-point gap between that one of Gabe Butler, the 25 of Kevin Freeze. So they've got about a 17-point gap from second to third to Raymond Rittenauer there in the third spot. He's closed up a little bit in the points after last week's event. In fourth, you got Eric Laurie. Fifth is Matt Quick. And 6th through 10th, you've got Bud Steele, Corey Lane, Dean Wilkinson, Jack Walls, and Thomas Holder. Qualifying still going on here, so say we're getting everybody squared away, get our starting positions for tonight's event. So you got about just under a minute remaining in qualifying here, so we'll see where everybody's going to stack up for the race. And then we will get things underway here shortly. So again, want to thank you all for joining us here at Green White Checker TV. Actually, now that I look at my ticket, it looks like about a minute and a half, or just over a minute, I should say, now in qualifying. So I'll say we'll get everybody finished up here with their qualifying laps, and we'll get things started here in just a moment. Alright, qualifying has just completed, so we'll go over our starting grid here momentarily. Alright, so on pole position is going to be the 24 of Everett Lane. Next to him, Dale Willoughby, Dean Wilkinson in third, Jack Walls in fourth. We got Todd Merkel in that fifth position, Maxwell Caldwell in sixth, Corey Lane seventh, Joe McAdory going to round out our top 8. 9th through 16th, we've got Charles Johnson, Michael Spell, Brandon Pasalacqua, Roy Grandy, Andrew Pleshy, Paul Patterson, Raymond Rittenauer, Travis Turnmeyer in 16th. And then 17th through 25th, here you've got Kevin Freeze, Gabe Butler, Dude Conrad, Eric Laurie, Diego Vasquez, Jim Brooks, Thomas Holder, and Brian Pierce. And then last two cars here, 26th, 27th, you've got Paul Fletcher and Eugene Vernon for the 26th and 27th positions. So not sure unfortunately what happened on the paint scheme for that 24 car for Everett Lane. I was double checking it to make sure I refreshed my paint schemes, and for whatever reason the template may be off, might be the wrong car or something like that. So unfortunately, you'll see that number 24 car's paint scheme going to be a little bit odd this evening, but we'll definitely keep an eye on things though as this race goes on. Alright, I think we're just about to get going here. So I'm going to do actually is unfortunately, one of the drivers not able to make, it doesn't appear, may not be making in the grid tonight. So we'll pull him up just to double check before we get things officially going here. I'm going to pull in our regular here, the number 89, Matt Quick. Matt, I know you're still trying to get things squared away. The updates and all that obviously took a lot of your time here, so I'm not 100% sure if you're able to hop in or not. Obviously, if you're going to be able to race, I don't want to take you away from that, but wanted to check in to see what things are looking like for you if you're going to be able to sneak your way in here at the end.
Well, I'm at 96% right now, so I'm going to try to sneak in and see what happens, see if my caution comes out, but see what happens.
All right, 10-4, so I'll keep an eye on you. I'll say if not, they'll say definitely send me a message or something. They'll say if you're interested in joining me here up in the booth, I'll say definitely be glad to have you. I'd like to rather see you on track though, of course. So hopefully we'll be able to sneak you in here.
All right, man. I'll let you know.
All right, that is the 89 of Matt Quick. And also, I mean, he entered this one in top 5 in the points. So I mean, he wants to get in this race to have a good result here tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye and see how that's going to shake out for him this evening as well. So I'll say hopefully he's able to jump in pretty last second. Might have to start from the pits if he can get in just before this grid here gets going. So we'll keep an eye out for that number 89 machine. And then, like I said, 75 laps is going to be scheduled distance here tonight. They do have the 3 attempts of a green-white checkered finish. Of course, the 1 available faster pair as well. And like Matt mentioned, to say if he can hop in the server, hopefully that'll give him an opportunity with a caution, be able to get him hopefully just a lap back. We'll see when he's able to get in there. So we'll keep an eye out for that as well. And like I mentioned, those drivers battling for that points title right here, starting 16th and 17th respectively. And then also the 87 Raymond Rittenauer starting in the 28th position. And I actually just saw that 89 Matt Quick's name pop up in my little ticker, so we'll see. Maybe he might be able to just sneak in time here, so we'll keep an eye out up front, though. All right, as you see, the pace car is about to turn left into the pits. That's going to hand it over to that 24 of Everett Lane on the pole, outside the number 7 of Dale Willoughby on the outside pole position. Once that green flag flies, we will get things underway here tonight against 75 laps tonight here at Talladega. Alright, green flag has flown, and we are again, so it's all going to be about to start here. Who gets the initial push off? Right now, the inside line definitely seems to have the advantage, and of course, they're going to have the shorter distance around as well. So, things looking solid here to start off for Everett Lane. He's got Dean Wilkinson right on his back bumper, along with the 81 of Todd Merkel. The outside line, he's got about 3 cars locked up there with the 7, the 83, and the 94. And as I say that, here comes Brandon Passalacqua. He jumps up, but as he does that, the 94 Maxwell Caldwell, he actually jumps to the bottom here. So right now I think that inside line is where you're going to want to be this evening. So right now if you're that 24 of Everett Lane, you kind of like what you see in front of you. You got nothing going on. So you just got to kind of watch, make sure you're holding your spot where you need to up front. But here comes that big push from the outside lane of Dale Willoughby leading that top groove. He's got Jack Walls working with him here as it comes out of turn number 2. And again, this is kind of where the momentum usually shifts for that inside-outside line. So this is where you see Jack Walls giving a big push at number 7 cars. He's going to sneak just a nose ahead here down the back. We'll see if he can clear him. He does. Dale Willoughby gets right across the front bumper of that 24 of Everett Lane. Dale Willoughby point here at the entering turn number 3 to start lap number 3, and just say as they come through the tri-oval here. And you see the 89 of Matt Quick rolling out of the pits. Was able to get in the server a little bit, unfortunately not quite able to make it quite on time. I think he's going to cycle him, I believe, at least 2 down to start things off here as the leaders are on lap number 3. So he's going to need a little bit of help here to get his opportunity to try to get back up, be in contention here with a couple of cautions. But so you never know with these races. It's always a potential here tonight at the Superspeedway races, which, as I say that right now, things are pretty calm up front here. Everybody's running pretty much 2 by 2. So I haven't seen that third group come into play yet here, which is obviously at Talladega, definitely an easy thing to have happen. Daytona's a little riskier. You'll probably see everybody stay 2 by 2 over there for the most part. But here at Talladega, you'll definitely see the opportunities for that 3. 3 wide racing here. So right now you can see our lead pack here all pretty much bundled together. Right now Brendan Pasalacqua on the 21 on the outside line. He's one of our bigger movers, started 11th right now, running around the 4th or so position, depending on where he is, just based on the momentum. So he's moving his way forward here. And we talked about some of the teamwork as well. Say right now Travis Turnmeyer, I think, leading for the most part that group of teammates here in that 51 machine. You can see he's got the 1 of Gabe Butler right behind him. And you got the 25 Kevin Freeze, the 8 of Dude Conrad. And say also got the 07 Eric Voorhees right there as well. I saw Raymond right now in the 87, just a little further back as well. So you can see those teammates just kind of hanging out here. Just going for, looks like a different strategy tonight. So usually we see them kind of up front, just trying to control everything they can. But right now, though, they're going to have to roll back a little bit. As up front, you see Dale Willoughby on the inside line in front of that 55 of Dean Wilkinson now. And I say with that, though, once that switch happened, you see Everett Lane, he's jumped back to the top, so not Jack Wells. He's got a new car to push in that number 24 machine. And here comes Charles Johnson. He's going to try to make this top line happen now in that number 9. He's got the 88 there of Michael Spell next to him, or I should say behind him, along with the 21 of Brandon Pasalacqua as they try to make this top line for him here. As you see that, though, as soon as that 81 Todd Merkel had an opening, he jumped to the inside line. And that's going to really kind of weaken these middle and top grooves right here. So I think the inside line is going to really kind of show their strength right now with where things are set up at. And again, so one thing that we haven't mentioned too recently about these super speedway races, the fuel adjustment. Before they could run just about 25 laps. Everybody can make about 25 laps, so it'd be a 2-stop race. Now it's more likely going to be a 3-stop strategy race. There might be some that try to stretch it to make it a 2-stopper if they save really aggressively here. So I'll say those cars that are kind of on the inside line, just kind of minding their own business right now, they'll be able to save a lot of fuel, like that 51 that we had just mentioned of Travis Turnmeyer. He's in a really good spot to save a lot of fuel, as is the 82 here of Andrew Pleshy. Those drivers definitely in a nice spot here where they can just kind of ride, save fuel. Maxwell Caldwell, Todd Merkel also in that same boat. So just kind of a risk-verse reward. As you see Everett Lane, he gets back to the front with that big push from Jack Walls. And now Jack's got a really strong push here as well from that number 9 of Charles Johnson. So I think this time Jack's going to have the opportunity. He's going to have a chance to be the leader of this field, as he's getting a big push from that number 9 car. As last time we saw, the inside line was able to jump in front of him. And at the line here, I think Jack's going to get that lap blood. He will, so give a lap blood there to that 83 of Jack Wells, as he's going to jump to the inside. Now Charles Johnson on the outside, he can see if he can make his move to the front with the help from that Pasalacqua. Right now the inside line's holding pretty strong here. So you're going to mention Corey Lane right there in that inside line. And the number 10 machine running right now just inside the top 10, I believe. Yeah, in 8th position as things run here. Say Corey started in 7th, so right around his qualifying spot. I say some of those drivers that, like I mentioned, making some moves early is that first off is the 21 of Brandon Pasalacqua. He's moved up from 11th to 5th. Michael Spell from 10th to 7th here. So again, a lot of mixed strategies. So say again here, especially here at these play races, really doesn't matter where you start. As long as you stay in this main draft, you're going to have a good potential to be in the running here at the end of the races. One driver that's a little close to being in danger are these two here. It looks like to be the 22, I believe, of Joe McAdory, as well as the 80 of Diego Vasquez. So they need to make sure that they don't fall too much more off the pack. I think they're just close enough where they're going to be okay to hang on to that draft. But they got to be extremely careful because, especially if you're that last car in the line like that number 80 it's a really risky situation to put yourself into because you don't have any help from behind. So Diego needs to make sure he can kind of grab back to the back of that 22 car, as it looks like you see that the 22, he's gotten to the outside now of Eugene Vernon, and so I think that's going to be able to help Diego be able to regain this group here as they come through 3 and 4 again. About to cross on. Looks like Charles Johnson may get a lap led this time around. It is tight at the end. Looks like the 83 Jackball still had the lead just by a nose. They're at the line. However, they're going to be approaching that number 89 of Matt Quick. Unfortunately, right now is sitting 2 laps down. This would put him on the 3rd lap down. Again, I say obviously you want to try to minimize. Ideally, obviously you want to just be the one down that we get back in the lead lap and be in contention in the chance of a yellow. However, right now, definitely not in the position for that 89. However, what Matt's going to be able to do here is he's going to be able to stay on the outside line, let the leaders come on by here, and he'll be able to cycle in with that lead pack here and be able to hang on with them as they come across line as we're about to start lap number 12 of 75. So getting to about that point, the halfway point in this fuel run here at Talladega. Now is following right behind that 88 Michael Spell. Start building up some of the filing with his teammates. I see the 81 Todd Merkel. He's jumped to the top there as well. So again, drivers going to start shifting around a little bit here, trying to figure out what line you want to be in and where. But within probably about 7 or so laps, we're going to probably start seeing drivers really try to work their way to the bottom side and get ready for the first sets of pit stops. And that's going to be where the teammates and the team strategy come into play. And here comes the first decision here. As you can see, the number 7 car, Dale Willoughby, he's going to lead his teammates in. You got the 1 of Gabe Butler there. I think I saw the 25 Kevin Fries. 8 of Dude Conrad, 87 Raymond Rittenauer, 51 Travis Turnmeyer, as we mentioned. I also saw Diego Vasquez. He's going to sneak into this group as well, as along with the 071, their teammate of Eric Laurie. So although you see Eric overshot his pits just a little bit, as did the 1 car. And that's the danger of the strategy here, because you may lose some time. And the question is, do your teammates back up and wait for you or not? Looks like the 071 and the 80, they'll be able to hook up together. So they're going to have to hustle a little bit to try to regain this group in front of them. So now we'll see if anybody's going to react to this or if they're going to keep this run going. It looks like they're going to stay settled in here. So we have our first strategy call of the night. With that team up front there, Dale Willoughby, Travis Turnmeyer, Duke Conrad, Kevin Fries, Raymond Rittenauer, Gabe Butler, Eric Laurie, Diego Vasquez, all hitting the pits there. So a good group of them there. I mean, that's about, I believe, 8 cars in that group that pitted there. So I'll say they're going to cycle through. They're going to stay on the lead lap. That's obviously the first critical thing for them to be able to do. And now they just got to try to get settled back in together here and try to see if they can close back up. But the problem here right now you see is these two, those 3 I should say, actually are just off the draft of their teammates here. So the question is, what do they stay as do they try to get back together in one line, or they just need to go as fast as they can here? So that's going to be some of the strategy calls that you have to make at these points of the race. So the next thing we'll keep an eye on as well is going to be lap times once they get fully up to speed and assembled, because again, right now they've kind of broken apart a little bit, so they don't have the full draft power that they would have normally if they had all the cars in that same little line. That separation, unfortunately, between the 1 and the 87 is definitely going to hurt them, because the more cars you have in the draft, the better. So we'll see how their lap times compare, because as we mentioned, this is where they make their dominances with strategy, entry, exits. Just unfortunately, a small mistake by a couple drivers that's kind of separated them out just a little bit here. And the other situation too is if you're the 89 and Matt Quick, you do not want to catch these cars. You don't want to put anybody a lap down, because you want to be that car to get a free pass if there's a potential of a yellow. So that's the other thing you have to be careful for. It's definitely a potential to put that 89 in a bad position to not get those laps back. we see Charles Johnson, big move to the inside in front of Jack Walker, turn number 3. They almost caught the apron a little bit, able to hang on to it, but I'm sure that definitely caught some drivers' attention. And it looks like they're still going to stay out. So from what I'm seeing here, I think these leaders are going to maybe run this first run out, and then we'll see what their decision is for the next 2 pit stops. Again, I think what we're seeing here is this lead pack, or sorry, the first group that pitted. I think what they're doing is they're treating this almost like a road course where they're kind of doing the math backwards, where they pit basically once they're in the window to make it on 2 more stops to the end. So that's the strategy that first group has taken. So now we'll see. Once the second group pits, they're going to have a longer pit stop. They'll have more fuel to add. The question is going to be how they cycle through. So next thing to mention is lap times. And actually that last time by that of Charles Johnson, they're all running in the 48.0s, 48.1s. However, Travis Turnmeyer leading that group that made the pit stop this last time by, they just ran a 47.5, so half a second faster, and that's also where they really do their damage, is when they get hooked up together, they are tough to beat. So they're definitely doing that right now. And again, the leader's running a 48.2, 48.1. So even with the bigger group here, they are losing time to that group that has already made their first pit stop. And so this is the concern now for Matt Quick. As you can see, they're going to put the 80 of Diego Vasquez in the last down. So I'll say what's going to happen now is if there's a caution, as long as Diego's not involved in it, this would put Diego in the position to get one of those laps back instead of the 89 of Matt Quick. So this is where Matt now needs it to cycle through green and hope for a timely caution when he's in a better position. Almost honestly, in a perfect world, what would happen is if there's a caution, after the 89 stays out while the leaders all pit, as he joined the server a little bit later, he'll have a little more fuel. So if he basically would be ahead of the leaders, put himself 2 laps down, and then a caution comes out to get him to then put him just 1 down. So let's say in a perfect world, that's what would happen if you're the 89. So now we just have to wait and see if maybe luck will kind of pan out his way. But as you see right here, all leaders are everybody's starting to hustle to the inside line. So I have a feeling we're going to see pit stops within a minute or 2, judging by everybody dropping to the bottom here. That's leaving Matt Quick on the outside. He's going to try to give a big push, though, to 81 Todd Merkel. What he could do here is this could be a huge break for Todd as well. If that can push the 81 to the front in front of that number 9 of Charles Johnson, that could allow Todd Merkel to have a great pit entry here, be able to pit in this lead pack. But it's going to be tough to do right here. As you can see, it's just the 2 cars versus all of the cars here are pinned on the inside line. Come out of 4, see if anybody pits. Nope, looks like they're all going to go 1 more lap. So I think these drivers are going to go and see if they can run this to absolute maximum. Again, as you can see, Matt Quick trying to push that 81 of Todd Merkel to the front. And it looks like Todd's just going to maybe get enough to clear, but not quite enough. He can't quite get to the bottom. Stay side by side here through turn number 1. And the next thing to mention as well is they have all sorted up in the back here. We'll jump back to the second group here. You can see now they are all lined up together here. Now Raymond Rittenauer, but more importantly, you see that one of Gabe Butler, the 071 of Eric Laurie, they are all locked on together. And like I said, they are making some really good lap times, about a second, half a second, I should say, quicker than this lead pack up front. So they're definitely doing what they need to do to get this job done tonight. Leaders stay out 1 more time, so it looks like they're going to try to stretch this first run to the absolute maximum on the fuel distance. As again, Matt Quick doing everything he can. Looks like he's now going to get the 81 clear, and yep, there goes Todd. He's going to jump to the inside. Unfortunately, this is going to leave Matt out to dry. Again, he's got no help there, and he's going to be on a slightly different fuel strategy than his leaders. So all Matt can do now at this point is stay out. Again, hope for a timely caution. Otherwise, he's going to have to pit probably within about 4 laps or so in that number 89 car. So unfortunately, he's going to lose about, I'd say, at least a second or 2 a lap just without that draft, unfortunately, here. Alright, so we're going to start seeing, I believe, everybody start to peel off to hit the pits, and I am once again proven wrong. I see one driver, looks like Eugene Vernon, he's going to hit the pits by himself, unfortunately. I really suspected we'd see the whole field hit the pits. They do not. So they're going to keep going yet again another lap there. So some good fuel mileage for this first group. I wonder, is there anybody who's going to try to stretch it? Maybe get to that magical lap number 25 mark. Again, it's going to take a lot to kind of erase one pit stop, so I'll have to wait and see how that's going to go. And again, lap times leaders running the 48.2s. Raymond Rittenauer in the group that pitted, they're already under green flag. They're in the 47.5, so 0.7 of a second advantage to that group of Raymond Rittenauer, Dale Willoughby, Travis Turnmeyer, Dude Conrad, Gabe Butler, and Eric Laurie and Kevin Freeze. So we stay with their lead pack again, still staying out. So they're going to start lap number 24 here. So the fuel numbers, I mean, whatever they're doing here, I'm actually surprised some of the leaders are still able to stay out. As you can see, Eugene Vernon, he's going to leave the pits there. He's going to also go a lap down. And again, this is the concern for Matt Quick, is to be in that situation where he may not be in position to get that free pass here. So that being said, though, I have a sinking feeling this is going to be a pit stop time for the leaders. I don't see, well, at least the main leaders, ones that have been leading laps. I think we might see at least a few drivers here try to go one more lap under this run. As you see, Jack Walls, he's going to jump to the top. I think that's going to be the telltale sign. So here comes some of our lead pack going to hit the pits here. Oh, you see Andrew Pleshy, he overshot it. He had to get back on track not to get into the back of anybody. That's going to cost him a lot of time. But this is going to cycle now Jack Walls to the front in that number 83 car. And say he's got still a really big group here with him. You can see Brandon Pasalacqua, he's got Michael Spell there. Dean Wilkinson is in that group as well. And then just a little bit there further back, Corey Lane, Maxwell Caldwell, Jim Brooks also in this pack. And you can see they split up just a little bit there with that pit cycle. So these guys here, they are getting to that third of a distance of the race. So if they can save again like they did this run, this could get them to the window to make it on just two more stops. And actually, Corey's going to really stretch this field. He's going to go one more, try to make a 26-lap run here, which would really help his cause out for this race, to see if he can have a chance to make it on two stops instead of the expected three. See Matt Quick, he's going to lock onto the back of that 10 car. So they're going to try to get all the draft they can and try to see if, again, just try to maximize their the entry exit laps. Those are critical for junctures like this. Say if you're Matt Quick, you're hoping you can maybe push him up to another group of lap cars or cars that just made their pit stops. However, unfortunately, as you can see, it doesn't look like that's going to come into play. So right now, as things run, it's going to be the 10 of Corey Lane. He's going to hit the pits as our race leader. But as things are cycling through right now, our race leader, after this is all said and done, is going to jump over to this 51 of Travis Turnmeyer. Again, these guys right now just really kind of picking him up and putting him down. You can see the gap they have over Jack Walls, who just left the pits there. Again, right now we've got kind of two different strategies. And what I'm seeing right now is I love what I'm seeing with the strategy and the teamwork of these guys. I think that second car, I think they're kind of doing the push and then jump out of the way. So basically, whoever's at second car line, they push until they get too hot, and then that lead car, he jumps to the outside and then lets that car that's hot, he becomes a leader, and then they kind of rinse and repeat. So this is just brilliant teamwork here with these I believe it's 7, let me double check, I think it's 7 cars in this group right now, and this is why they're running such fast lap times right now. See 10 of Court Lane, he's going to head out of the pits here. If he's lucky to be able to hook onto the back of this group here, he's going to have to really hustle on the exit. And so you have to be careful, though, because again, you see a big group of cars on their way here. So you see Jim Brooks, he's going to go to the outside of that number 10. Corey, you saw there, smartly got to the bottom, to the apron even, to let them sneak on by. So now his goal here for Corey Lane, try to see if he can tag onto this back here. But that momentum might just be a little bit too strong for him to grab onto the toe. So we'll keep an eye on his speeds, see if he's able to tag back onto this group here. Because this would be huge for him if he can catch back up to this lead pack. get back to fuel save mode again. He's trying to make this on one less stop than our leaders here. So as things have cycled through now, our top 7, again, they pitted early. They've gone about 16 laps since they've last pitted, and so they can go another probably about 6 to 7 laps, I would suspect, on fuel. But you can see on the ticker on the left, what they've been doing here since that pit stop, they've grown this lead to over 10 seconds, partially due to the shorter pit stop, obviously pitting early, not having to take as much fuel, but as I mentioned again, also partially just because of how well they are drafting together. This is just textbook teamwork here at these plate tracks. So say for those that are watching, or for those that may be watching later on after the race, you can kind of put this in your notebook for what to do with these cars and how to get the max that you can race in, race out. So jump back to that second group again. Charles Johnson, as you can see, he's leading this 2x2 group here. We mentioned the 10 of Corey Lane hasn't quite been able to tag onto it. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on to them. Looking at his lap times, he was actually about 0.2 of a second quicker that last time by, so he might just be able to hold on to these guys. And again, this is going to be critical for him to be in a position to try to have a chance to win this race on his pit strategy. And sure enough, he does. He's going to grab onto the back of this group, so great job by Corey. Sticking with it, they're able to hang on to this lead pack here. Now he can go right back to fuel stage strategy in the number 10 car. A little further back, some of these drivers fell off this second group. Paul Patterson, Thomas Holder, Roy Grandy. They're about 5 seconds off of that group in front of them. They're currently running in the 18th, 19th, and 20th positions respectively. And then also behind them, another group that's fallen off this pack. You can see, again, about 5 seconds off of them, Brian Pierce, Andrew Pileshi, and Joe McAdory. And we saw what happened to Andrew. He just, unfortunately, didn't quite make the pit entry, had to go one more lap. And just all that track loss time, that's what really hurt him there, unfortunately, as well. So right now, let's say it's again lead pack now. It's cycled through to Gabe Butler as leader. As you can see previously, the 8 car of Duke Conrad, he falls to the back there of this lead pack. And this is kind of that cycle going through. So right now in the pit stop cycle, everybody's back on the lead lap except, again, the 89 of Matt Quick, who unfortunately did not quite grid in time. He's still sitting at 3 laps down. So like I was mentioning, the perfect situation for Matt would be a caution while he was only 2 down. Unfortunately, that did not come out to time for him. But the problem now is he's going to have some cars that are very close to going a lap down on pace and not on the pit strategies, just due to them losing the draft here. So right now, if you're that number 1 of Gabe Butler, this is all you're going to see in the back of your cars. You're going to just basically be seeing a lot of John Deere of Eric Laurie. And like I mentioned, I think what we're going to see here is once Eric gets a little bit too hot in that 071 car, Gabe's going to jump to the outside, and then Eric's going to become the leader of this race, and that's going to put Kevin Freeze right behind him and make that push happen. So we talked about the teamwork, and this is exactly what they're doing here. And like you mentioned, they're doing this picture perfect here. So hats off to this team. I said they had a strategy, they stuck with it, and they are making it work. As we are about to cross line lap 33, which will give us 43 laps to go, not quite at the halfway point of this race. And like I mentioned, these leaders are going to probably have another couple of laps before they have to make their next scheduled green flag stop, which will be a longer one. As you see, here goes the one. He's going to jump to the top. So now it's going to hand it over to that 071 of Eric Laurie. And now he's going to take over the race point, and he's going to have help from that 25 of Kevin Freeze. The only thing I could see now that might throw a wrench into this plan here a little bit is that number 001 Eugene Vernon. But actually, as I say that, he's going to just be at the tail end of this lead pack, so he's going to try to hold on to their draft and keep himself in the lucky dog position. But he just had to make sure, obviously, that I'm sure the drivers of this group want to make sure that he doesn't really affect their drafting strategy that they have going on right now. So again, right now lap times up front, still running in the 47s, mid to upper 47s. So again, these guys are just doing absolutely everything here. Jump back to the 24 of Everett Lane. He's now leading this group. He ran a 47.8, which is a good lap, but again, still about 0.2 off of that lead pack here. As again, you can see that we talked about the draft, the gap, I should say, after the pit stop cycle was about 10 seconds. You can see it's grown to about 12 now. Just again, these guys just hitting their marks spot on lap after lap right now. So this group here, you have 8th through 17th right now in this group. And again, the driver of this group that I'm going to be watching is going to be that number 10, Corey Lane. The problem for Corey here that he's going to have is he may have to pit a lap earlier than he wants to, unless he can cycle into a group here that that makes a pit stop. Because Corey, like I mentioned, he came 1 lap later than the majority of these guys, 2 laps later than some of them. The problem is for Corey is he can't risk a full lap by himself, because he's just going to lose so much speed in that lap without any draft. So the hope for Corey is he might be able to cycle through with maybe somebody that makes a green flag pit stop, and then he can kind of hop onto their draft to run that extra lap and then make his pit stop. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously he's still in lap number 9 for him, so he's still got plenty of time to go. Probably another at least 15 laps for him. Again, that magic number for Corey is going to be about 25 to go, 24 to maybe play it a little bit safer in that number 10 car. So we'll have to keep an eye and see if that strategy is going to maybe have a chance to work out. To, if not, get him an opportunity for a top 3 finish. Should at least be able to separate some of these drivers that may have to make a 3rd pit stop instead of just the 2. Paul Patterson there leading this 3rd group here. Right now, again, like I said, 18th through 20th still. You see they picked up Matt Quick in the number 89 car. Unfortunately, like I said, just things not going quite to plan for Matt. Didn't get that caution he was hoping for, unfortunately. He's had a lot of bad luck on track tonight. He's going to have some bad luck before the race even begins getting into the server on time, unfortunately for him. Like I said, I mean, he's going to obviously do everything he can to see if he can gain some positions, but without any help from cautions, which right now obviously got a very green flag feel to it. It's going to be difficult for him. As you can see also behind them, you've got Brian Pierce, Andrew Palesci, and Joe McAdory there in that 4th group of cars here running together. So that's pretty much who everybody's hooked up with right now. You've got basically 4 groups of cars right now as they run. And I say up front though, these guys still kind of doing that cycle. As you can see now, Kevin Freese, he's taking over the point, and here they come. They actually made 25 laps on that run, so they're all going to hit the pits here for a scheduled stop, and it looks like everybody's going to get in safely. You can see how everybody was staggering just to make sure there's no mistakes here. Now the next goal for these drivers is to make sure that they hit their pit stall, because you do not want to overshoot and have to back up. That's going to be the next important part of this one. And as I say that, you see the 8 overshoots just a little bit there. I think he might be able to get away with it. And I was saying, then you got the 7 of Dale Willoughby qualified in the 2nd position. He's kind of off all by his lonesome up here. All right, they're all coming out together, and it looks like they've got the whole group here. And they get, you look how well they get reassembled. You got all 7 cars right back into it here. And I don't think anybody's going to be at risk of losing this draft right now. So, again, just hats off to these guys. They just, they just kind of make it look easy, honestly. So they're going to all get hooked back up here. And that's, again, this is the way you minimize any time lost at this track, is getting in and out together, get re-lined up as fast as you can. So we've just crossed the halfway point of the race. Lead's going to now cycle over to this 81 of Todd Merkel with that 2nd set of pit stops for that lead pack. And I say now this group's got about 10 more laps that they can go on fuel until their next stop. And the question is going to be, again, it's going to be that final pit stop. Will the difference in fuel for this group be enough to overcome the 2nd group? So one thing you do see here is they are now running single file, not double file, like we saw them running earlier. And there's definitely some mixed opinions on which is the faster way to run. Some think if you have a big enough group running 2x2, you can run faster laps. As we saw the single file of that group, of that team with the team boot knockers, they obviously doing a really good job doing the single file strategy. So like I said, I have a feeling there's going to be some drivers that review the tape, and they'll be learning and seeing what they can do to kind of see if they can put a stop to that organization. right now this lead group here is about 10 cars deep. So like I mentioned though, the one car that's again the one that kind of to me the question mark is going to be that 10 of Corey Lane. Just whether or not can he go that extra lap than the rest of them, or maybe someone in this group that pitted one lap before him, maybe they're saving really aggressively here and they can go one extra lap as well. That would be the question, I think. So like for instance, those drivers that made that pitted just one lap before the 10 of Corey Lane, they include the 76 of Jim Brooks, Maxwell Caldwell, Jack Walls, Dean Wilkinson, Michael Spell, and Brandon Pasolaco. So there are a lot of drivers that pitted just one lap before Corey. So if any of them are being really aggressive on their fuel saving here, that might give someone an opportunity to maybe draft with that number 10 car, go that one extra lap, maybe get to lap 24 to go instead of 25 to go, just get to that magic window to see if you can make it on that one stop. Actually, what's going to maybe come into play here too is they look a little forward. Here's the 001 Eugene Vernon. He pitted with that group ahead of him. He wasn't able to cycle out with them. However, he's going to be up to speed and he's going to get gobbled up by this group here. And that could be exactly what one of those drivers that wants to run that extra lap on fuel could need, just to have that one. Even if it's just the one car, it could go such a long way. So that 001 Eugene Vernon, he could be someone's lucky break to make that extra lap on fuel. So we'll drop back to that other group as well. Let me find him, Brian Pierce. Now, saying this group, actually, you can see they've gotten all lined up here. So now you've got a bigger group as well. And so that's also, again, going to just help that speed out a little bit. Right now, unfortunately, they're about 14 seconds off the leaders. So right now we have three big draft groups basically right now circulating the track. Leaders coming across the start-finish line now here with the 81 of Todd Merkel leading the way. As you can see, they are starting to get around that 001 of Eugene Vernon. And then again, like I mentioned, drop about 15 seconds to that second group of Brian Pierce and company, as they're going to be coming around as well. And then I believe it's another just about 10 seconds, not quite 15 seconds, back to that third group, which is being led at the moment, I believe, by Kevin Freeze. Well, it was being led by Kevin Freeze, but he's dropping to the back now. Raymond Rittenauer leading that group. I'll say about 20 seconds back, or sorry, about 10 seconds, I should say, back to that group. So this is kind of the three packs we have right now. Again, 5 cars still remaining. Unfortunately, Diego Vasquez, he has retired from the race, which is going to leave us 25 cars left in the race, 23 on the lead lap here. So yeah, so we'll have to kind of wait and see. As like I mentioned, Todd Merkel, he's on lap number 20 of his run. So he realistically has probably about 4 or 5 more laps before he has to make his second to last pit stop. Like I mentioned, some of these drivers are going to try to see how far they can stretch it here on fuel. That magic number, like I mentioned, is going to be if any of these drivers, if they can get to 24, 25 to go before they make their final pit stop, that could be enough to allow them to make it on 2 stops instead of the 3. But one thing I haven't mentioned is Talladega 2.66 miles, Daytona's 2.5 miles. That extra 0.16 of a mile could play a big difference whether or not someone can make it on the 2 stops versus 3 stops. So we've seen it done. I believe Michael Spell is one of those drivers that was able to do it in previous weeks. So we'll see if anybody else is able to make it happen here tonight. Yeah, but while we have him, might as well give our race leader Todd Merkel some nice TV time. I say Todd's done a lot of stuff. Again, I say it's fun to know what some of these drivers do here for a living. So you can see on the deck lid there, the Ross Racing pistons on the back of that car. Todd, for those that aren't aware, actually is a pro stock racer. So does a lot of drag racing. Does this for fun and probably a little bit of a distraction as well from the real life racing. So again, really cool to see him. Let's say Merkel Racing engines on the front of that number 81 Ford Mustang. So Todd right now leading the way here at Talladega. Like I said, everybody's kind of on a different pit strategy at the moment. But right now, that 81 car leading the way with good help from that 21 right behind him of Brandon Pasolaco. So you have a few other drivers that are in this event that don't regularly race the Superspeedway Cup Series, but it's good to see them on board. One of those being the 94 Maxwell Caldwell. Say one of the, actually I should say the Season 5 champion of the Area 51 Cup Series in that number 94 machine. So hopped over here to do some Superspeedway racing in that number 94 tonight. So he's one of those drivers in the mix every Thursday night in the Cup Series. Say same thing for them. They've got just a few more races left to go in the season. He's in a really good tight battle for the second position in the points over there. I'll say right now it's been pretty tough to try to catch that points leader. I say he's been trying to sneak away, but that 94 Maxwell Caldwell, him, Chad Wilkes, and a few other drivers definitely always trying to challenge though to see if they can kind of. They're always usually in about the top 3, top 5 positions. You can kind of count on seeing them week in, week out, challenging for those wins. Another one of those drivers that's doing kind of similar double duty, if you will, is the 82 Andrew Pleshy. Andrew also one of those drivers that runs Thursdays regularly. He's over here tonight as well. He's in that second group, like I mentioned, in the 12th position here, working with Brian Pierce. As you can see, just behind him, close to between the 26 and the 00. But you can see what's hurting this group right here, though. You can see the spacing between the cars. And that's what's really going to be hurting their pace. You got to stay, like I mentioned, so you got to stay really locked onto each other. I'm saying a perfect example is going to be that group right behind him. You can see just the lack of distance between these cars, and that's what you got to do. If you're the second car in line, like right now the 8 that Duke Conrad is, your goal is to be pushing that 071 Eric Laurie as hard as you can, obviously as safely as you can, but as much as you can, trying to push him through the turns here. However, if you're those cars a little further back, while you're not pushing the car in front of you, there's a kind of an unwritten rule: you don't push the pusher. However, you want to be as close to the rear wing, rear spoiler of that car in front of you, again, just to help that whole group just go that much faster. And that's why you see this group just so well organized, so lined up, and that's what they've been able to do here tonight. So while we saw that, we saw pit stops happening here. That third group we had mentioned, Andrew Pleshy, they're hitting the pits. Actually, here comes a few more of the leaders. It's like Todd Merkel and Everett Lane. They're going to hit the pits, which is going to cycle the lead now over to the 21 of Brandon Pasalacqua. And so we'll see how many more laps they can go. I feel like they're going to have to most likely pit this time. They're on their lap number 25, like I mentioned. The only one of those who's went one lap further than the rest of them is that number 10 of Corey Lane. Like I mentioned as well about Corey in the 10 car, he does have that 001 of Eugene Vernon right behind him, so that could come into play here as well. And actually, we'll see as the pit stops if they happen, if anybody's going to go one extra lap or not. So we'll wait and look. And I see one jumping out, two jumping out. All right, we got 4 cars going one more lap. That's going to be Jack Walls, Jim Brooks, Corey Lane, and Eugene Vernon. We mentioned Eugene; he has made a pit stop. So these drivers here, they cross the line here. This is going to be 25 to go as they cross the line. So this could be the magic number for them. Or can Corey Lane, can he go one more and pit coming to 23 to go, I should say? That's going to be the question for these drivers. Again, this is what they want to have, though. They want to have this many cars in a group. They can go that little bit quicker in the draft than obviously being stuck on their own. So I suspect we'll see for sure the 83 and the 76 come in the pit here. The question is going to be whether or not the 10 follows, or if he's going to try to go one more lap or not. He may have had to burn some fuel. Nope, he's going to hit the pits as well. So we're going to have the 3 of these drivers here going to try to see if they can stretch it, make that 2-stop strategy happen. Again, Jack Walls, Jim Brooks, and Corey Lane, as they all hit the pits together here. Now the goal for them, of course, is just to make sure they hit their pit stops nice and safely. Don't overshoot the entries. And then, of course, try to get that solid exit out. It looks like 76 Jim. He's going to be the first to hit. Looks like he hit his pit stall nicely. Now it's going to be the 83. And as I said, a caution comes out during the cycle of pit stops. And it's involving our lead group here that are off strategy. You see Dude Conrad, he was one of those involved. Also, I think I saw the 7 of Dale Willoughby also, and the 25 Kevin Freeze. So we'll go back. We got to see what happened here. And what could come into play here is let's see where Matt Quick is in this one, because this one could also allow Matt Quick to maybe get an extra lap back from the leaders. We'll see where he cycles through with everything. So right now, I believe our race leader is being shown as the one of Gabe Butler. However, let's go back and see what just went on here. All right, so we're watching. Up front is the 8 of Jude Conrad. Behind him is the 7 of Dale Willoughby. And so they're coming through 3 and 4, and say looks like there's nobody else there really involved. You see Matt Quick actually had just gotten caught by that group, so he's unfortunately going to be, I believe, still trapped a lap down from that. So but we're going to see what happened to our leaders here through 3 and 4. And I kind of have a sneaking suspicion. Yeah, it looks like the 7 just was a little bit off-centered from the 8 of Dude Conrad. And they get together, and you can see from there, it's just kind of unfortunately a chain reaction here in front. As you can see, the 7, the 8 get together, the 25, he gets involved as well. Looks like a little bit of contact as well for the 87 and the 1 car. And actually the 89 of Matt Quick, if he did not hit the 1 car of Gabe Butler, it was by inches. I think possibly the 071, Eric Laurie, may have been the only one, along with the 51 of Travis Turnemeyer, that could have gotten through there. However, with all this happening, this is going to completely shake up our running order, as a lot of these leaders had to make pit stops right there under green. We do have some drivers that I believe are trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap and maybe get a lap back. So right now our race leader showing is the 10 of Corey Lane. However, you can see in front of him, starting off with the 57 of Brian Pierce. Brian Pierce, Roy Grandy, Thomas Holder, Paul Patterson, all showing as the tail end of the lead lap here. Obviously, once they get the one to go, they'll cycle back around through to the front. Unfortunately for Matt Quick, that caution just not quite at the opportunity for him. He's still going to be 3 laps down. He was just behind the leaders when that wreck happened, and unfortunately was not eligible for the Lucky Dog, as the 001 Eugene Vernon was still a lap ahead of him. So Eugene Vernon, he does get one of his 2 laps back, which will put him back to just 1 lap down in that 001. And so what this does, though, we mentioned those drivers that had were just doing that long 2-stop strategy run right here. The 10, the 83, and the 76, they all pitted there. They all should be good to go to the end. It might be tight on fuel. They can make it scheduled distance. I don't know if they can go beyond that. However, also see some of those drivers that pitted the lap before, Brandon Passalacqua, Michael Spell, Everett Lane, they all stayed out as well. So they're going to be a lap shorter on fuel, but this caution obviously going to help save a lot of fuel. First car out of the pits under that caution is the 1 of Gabe Butler. I say again, I feel like at this point, for those that pitted under yellow, they should easily be good to go to the end. At this point, the question is just going to be whether or not they can maybe go extra green, white checkers. And as I say, there are going to be a few that are going to top off here as well on the 1 to go. Those looks like the 1, the 51, the 071. And then a little further back, the 25, the 8, the 87, 82. So we've got a good group of cars here going to top off here on this 1 to go as well. All right, as you see, the 1 to go just went on by. So that's allowed the 18 of Roy Grandy. He's going to get his lap back, or get the wave around, get back on the lead lap. Same thing here goes for Paul Patterson. Surprisingly, though, I'm a little thrown off by this one. The 57 of Brian Pierce, the 00 of Thomas Holder, they both pitted there on that 1 to go caution. So they're going to now be trapped a lap down, unfortunately. So there's going to be 3 cars 1 lap down, the 001, the 00, and the 57. But my concern as well for that is at these races, the bigger tracks 2 miles and above, like Michigan, California, and then of course our plate tracks, they run quick yellows here. So if they didn't pit the first time, they're going to have a pit penalty for pitting the second time. And so unfortunately that might force them to make a green flag pit stop here once we get back underway. So I think at this point, pit strategy's over. It's going to be all about just outright speed to the end. So right now up front, it's going to say, again, our running order is shaking up just a little bit here. Corey Lane going to be leading the way with Jack Walls next to him. Jim Brooks in third. Brandon Pasalacqua fourth. Then you get the 88, Michael Spell in fifth. Everett Lane in sixth. Charles Johnson now in seventh. Dean Wilkinson eighth. And Dale Willoughby and Maxwell Caldwell rounding out our top 10. Now, we mentioned, say, some drivers went ahead and topped off on the one to go. That's going to allow them to go that a little bit extra just in case. Let's say I think these drivers are preparing just for the potential of a green, white, checkered finish. Let's say, because I believe from here, most of these drivers can make it to the end. And of course, though, with everything that's going on, intensity is going to definitely pick up here as the pace car is in. Now it's up to that 10 of Corey Lane. Whenever he is ready to go, he can fire off. However, at plate tracks, it's usually safer to wait for that green flag to fly, because if you get a big lead, you're just going to get gobbled up. So it looks like that's exactly what that 10 of Corey Lane is going to do, as green flag is out, and they are back underway here with 21 laps to go at Talladega. See everybody's kind of jockeying for a position there. You saw Dean Wilkinson just got across the nose there before that whole field of Maxwell Caldwell. Say in response, Maxwell Caldwell, he jumps to the top side. As you can see, Jack Walls, Brandon Pasalacqua, they lock on there and they get back to the front. But here comes Jim Brooks. He doesn't want to get pinned to the bottom. He's going to jump up top here and try to work with Everett Lane. See that those two can get hooked up here and get to the top. As I say that, though, Everett's going to jump to the inside line. And actually, here comes Charles Johnson. He's having to hit the pits, possibly a pit penalty for that number 9 machine. We'll see if anybody else has to jump in as well. Looks like just Charles. So unfortunately, that's going to take him out of running right now. As up front, though, now Jack Wall's leading the way in that number 83 machine. But the 76 and the 94 are starting to hook up on that top side. Also, Dale Willoughby along with them here. We'll see if they can make that top line start to get another push forward here. You can see Brandon saw the momentum going on the top side. He's going to try to jump to the top. Actually, Jim's going to jump to the very top, so that's going to put them 3 wide here. Looks like, unfortunately, Jim's got no help for a ways. So I think we're going to see that 76 car fall to the back. He's going to have a little bit of help from the 22, Joe McAdory. However, at this point, I don't think that's going to be working. As we say, we can see, I don't think this is quite the 3 wide we're going to expect to see as we get to the later point of this race. However, again, Jack Wall still leading the way in the 83 car. I was saying that might also be the 76 of Jim Brooks, maybe not quite being ready to go full force to the end here yet. So, as I say, I also have the suspicion we're going to see that team together in the little back in the back. So it was obviously not the last we've seen of them. They're going to at some point make a charge. I think they're just waiting for their time to really kind of put the hammer down and try to make something happen. However, here comes Maxwell Caldwell. He's now back into the mix. He's got help from the 7 of Dale. He's going to get to the outside of the 83 of Jack Walls. We'll see him down the backstretch. We kind of talked about the inside lines, got the advantage through the turns, but once you get off the backstretch, usually the outside line is able to pick up some momentum, and that's where you'll see that charge go. However, when you've got someone pushing you like Brandon is pushing Jack right there down the backstretch, it's going to be hard to make up that ground. Wheeljack leading the way in the 83 car. Let's say again, getting lots of help from the 21 Brandon Pasolaco, the 10 of Corey Lane. Again, say some of these drivers having some pretty good pit strategy, working out in their favor with that timely caution as well. But like I mentioned, I feel pretty confident most of these cars here can make it to the end. A few of them might be pretty tight. That's also, again, that's to the scheduled distance of 75 laps. If there's a green flag, a green white checker to the finish, that could definitely shake things up. As you can see, check up on the outside. Oh, the 89 Matt Quick, he's going to get turned by Jim Brooks. You say kind of an accordion effect. A lot of cars getting caught up in that one. As I saw Jim Brooks get kind of pinned in behind the 55, I believe it was. And we have a big wreck there coming through, about to enter off of turn number 4, entering the trial over there. That's going to put us back under yellow. I say it was just kind of a little bit of a stack up. I saw the movement, and just unfortunately that kind of accordion effect. Unfortunately, it just caught out the 76 and the 89 at the wrong opportunity here. So you can see the 55 there on the top side. You can see he kind of washes up to the top. Matt Quick tries to react to it, and then from there, as you can see, almost catches the left rear quarter panel of Dean Wilkinson. However, that allows Jim Brooks. He catches into the back of the 89 car. Those two make heavy contact, and then unfortunately from there, just everybody's in a bad spot. You see Andrew Pleshy just gets hooked into it as well. I see that I think Eugene Vernon may have just snuck through there. However, you see a big hit there for Travis Turnmeyer. He goes up and over, and you can see most of the field here. It's almost see the 8. He gets caught up in a Dude Conrad. You see Travis Turnmeyer going up and over. We mentioned, of course, Matt Quick already caught up in that one. You got Kevin Freeze going through the pits. Gabe Butler also a little bit, and I saw the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer having to do some off-roading here as well. So going to be a lot of drivers here. I see a little bit of nose damage to the 87 car as well here. So there's going to be a lot of drivers going to have to get some damage repaired, to get some fast repairs possibly if available as well here. Let's say also, so it's unfortunate. It's going to put us back under caution here. As you can see, actually, Raymond trying to help his teammate get to the pits. Let's say a lot of these drivers, let's say, with heavy damage, maybe out of a motor there. So good teamwork for these guys trying to help one another out. And let's say you can see the damage for the 071 of Eric Laurie. He's having to hit the pit road. I see Roy. Oh, I was going through all that and I didn't actually show anything. I apologize, everybody. Here we go. All right, one more time. All right, so you see Dean Wilkinson, unfortunately, kind of pinned to the top side, gets a little bit high. Matt Quick tries to back off to avoid getting into the back of him, but unfortunately in the process, Matt gets turned by the 76 of Jim Brooks. And unfortunately from there, just a lot of drivers getting caught up in this, just nowhere for them to go. You see obviously Travis Turnmeyer kind of getting the worst there of it. And from here, I mean, you can see all these drivers just trying to go anywhere and everywhere they can. But unfortunately, a lot of drivers getting some contact from this here. Which looks like, yeah, so you see a 00. He goes sliding through the grass. I saw the 57 as well. I say there's Raymond Rittenauer in the 87 car. I say that's okay. I thought I saw Raymond get a little bit of damage. That's where he got his from. Andrew Pleshy, you can see there as well. There you see the damage to Dude Conrad, a car with the motor damage on his end. And then you see Travis Turnmeyer trying to get that car looped back around. Matt Quick caught up in it as well. So yeah, so it took out a lot of fast cars here. But again, like I mentioned, there were some drivers. They still had some fast repairs remaining. And so I think that's going to save a handful of drivers here. I'll say right now the lights are still on the pace car. Going through the field here, I don't see... Actually, I might see one that may have retired. I'm trying to go through the list and see who may have got caught up in that one. Because I am showing at the moment the number 1 of Gabe Butler as being retired from the event. I'll double check to see if he doesn't maybe by chance pop back in here. But unfortunately, that could be a huge shakeup in the point standings, as he was one of those ones fighting for the title here, along with Kevin Freeze and Raymond Rittenauer. Those were our top 3 in the points. As you can see, a lot of these cars look to be back in business here, so definitely think we saw some fast repairs get used. WC 76 car, his car is all better. Same thing goes for the 89. We saw the number 8 having to tow into the pits. His car, he's got his fast repair used up as well. So yeah, so say a lot of these drivers have been able to take advantage of that one fast repair they had available. However, now from here on out, though, they're going to have to be a little extra cautious to get to the end of this one. As I believe we're going to get the one to go here. And yep, sure enough, we are. So pretty much the top 12 did not pit. And the other driver that is a huge beneficiary of this, we mentioned he had to pit under green flag. That number 9 of Charles Johnson, he's back onto the lead lap as well. I believe Charles may have been the one to get the lucky dog in the incident, or may have actually not been actually caught up in the incident before he got lapped, and so he may have just been able to catch back up to the field. And I think that's actually the case because he has cycled through in front of a lot of these cars here that had to make pit stops. So big break for Charles Johnson. He's back in the running here and definitely has a shot to win this race as well. So we still have 21 cars on the lead lap. So we still have a couple cars a lap down. Brian Pierce, Thomas Holder, both 1 down. Matt Quick still 3 down. And unfortunately, like I mentioned, Diego Vasquez has already retired much earlier in the race. And unfortunately, it does look like the one of Gabe Butler in the 1 has retired as well. So this is definitely going to, like I mentioned, going to shake up our running order in the point standings after tonight's race. Right now, his competition, the 87 of Raymond Rittenauer. Raymond is in the 17th position. Kevin Freeze in the 20th position. So, again, they're not in any great position yet, but we're going to be restarting here at 12 to go, so a lot of time for a lot to happen. And unfortunately, I believe Gabe is going to wind up finishing tonight in the 25th position. So definitely not the night he was looking for. So unfortunately, I mean, everything was going so well for that whole group, and then just unfortunately that one little mistake with the drafting there through 3 and 4, and it's kind of shaken up the whole running order of tonight's event. All right, pace car is off. You can see everybody starting to get lined up here. Everybody's going to try to start getting tight on each other to make sure that they have as best of a restart as they can. Jack Walls, Brandon Pasalacqua, they're going to be the front row. Behind them, Maxwell Caldwell and Corey Lane. And we're going to get this thing underway here. 12 laps remaining at Talladega. Scheduled distance. 12 laps to go. We see Charles Johnson jumps immediately to the top. Not sure if that's to try to get to the front or if he's maybe going to try to ride in the back a little bit and wait as well. Right now, I'd say based on getting up to speed, I think Charles is just trying to get back, so it's really time to make something happen. It actually looks like he's going to squeeze in for the moment right in front of that number 8 of Dude Conrad there. So we'll see how everything's going to shake out in front. But right now, I'd say everybody pretty much running 2 by 2 here for the moment. Close there between the 9 and the 22. Charles Johnson and Joe McAdory, almost contact between the two of them entering turn 3. Luckily able to keep off one another, so we'll stay green here. And actually, as I say that, here's going to be another big championship moment. The 25 Kevin Freeze, he's going to hit the pits here under green. I believe most likely going to be a pit penalty for that 25 car. So again, he was one of our championship contenders as well. So this is as well going to drop him down the running order. So we'll have to keep an eye, see how everything cycles through. As right now, the 21 and the 83 here, pretty much running side by side. Everybody's still 2 by 2 up front. So it won't be too long, I believe, until we'll start seeing some 3 by 3 action as this race starts coming to its conclusion. As next time around, we're going to have 10 laps to go here at Talladega. Country's leading the pits now. That is going to put him 1 lap down. The only hope he has, of course, like I mentioned, and say some of the other drivers too, is if he can get a caution and not be involved in it, which obviously as he sits right now will definitely not be anywhere near the incident. However, I hope to happen is the 00 and the 57 get involved in it as well to be ineligible for the lucky dog, but there's still a long ways to go for that. As up front, Jack Wall is still getting a big push for Maxwell Caldwell as I hit turn number 3 here with up top Brandon Pasalacqua and Corey Lane working that top side. To go here at Talladega, and I suspect around 5 to go is going to be my guess of when you're going to see that line start to form. And I say I'll let everybody have one guess, which is driver it'll be that's going to jump to the top side. I say I probably obviously gave it away there, but I suspect we'll see that group of Duke Conrad, Eric Laurie, Raymond Rittenauer and company. I think they'll be the ones that we see jump to the top. But actually, as you see, Raymond Rittenauer, he's falling off the back just a little bit. Not sure if this is just by trying to play it safe a little bit, or maybe nose looks clean. I think he's got maybe use the faster pair. I think Raymond Rittenauer might be trying to think big picture in that number 87 car, knowing that those two championship rivals in the points are right now sitting in 23rd and 24th respectively. However, up front, still things holding pretty steady. In the front here, still everybody's staying 2 by 2. Right now, again, Jack Walls and Brandon Passalacqua still running side by side here for the lead. And see, big push down the backstretch on the inside line. I think it's going to give Jack just a little bit of an advantage here entering turn number 3. As you can see, there's just a slight gap between that 10 and the... Again, the next thing to mention here that we haven't really talked about yet is just these drivers. You have to be cautious. You can't push for too long without getting these motors hot. So if you're that 94 car, if you're the 10 car, you got to make sure that you're giving that car enough room to breathe and don't overheat it so it blows the motor. We have seen that before where someone pushes for too long, gets that engine too hot, can't cool it down in time, and unfortunately that's for those drivers. So hopefully everybody's kind of keeping an eye on those water and oil temperatures, because that could play a big role in tonight's event. See Charles Johnson, he's moved to the top side, thinking about trying 3-wide. Doesn't look like he had any help with him. And you see Andrew Pleshy. Now Andrew's peeking up top here. But again, just right now, nobody's really ready to make that commitment to the top yet. Like I mentioned, at some point you're going to see it happen. As you can see, big wiggle there from the 51 there of Travis Turnmeyer, able to hang on to it. That was close to being a moment there in the mid-pack here of this race. Now looks like it's starting to form now. As you see the 82 Andrew Pleshy, he's going to lead the top. He's going to have Matt Quick with him, as well as the 9 of Charles Johnson. And I suspect as you see this, if this line starts to really make some momentum happen, you might see someone try to peek out to the top and maybe jump in line and try to be the leader of that group. Right now, these 3 staying holding pretty steady as being the 3. Oh, as I said, we have trouble there. Looked like a push that went wrong. There are a lot of cars involved in this one. So watching as they still come through here, the 18, the 82, the 89 as well. And like I mentioned, actually, this is going to be a perfect break for Kevin Freeze, as he was just about to get put 2 laps down. That's going to put us back under caution here with 6 to go, coming to 5 to go, I believe they're at the line. Let's go back and see. From where I was sitting, it looked like it was maybe a bad push around the 81 or so of Todd Merkel, so we'll keep an eye on him. Yeah, it looks like maybe a bump between the 81 and the 8 car, and you see it catches the 22 as well, and then unfortunately from here, just pretty much a parking lot up at the top there. You see Jim Brooks there, this 00 also caught up in this one. Eric Laurie, I'll say Todd Merkel and Charles Johnson. Charles goes for a big ride there as well. See, like I mentioned, Matt Quick already caught up. You see Jim Brooks, he's got damage to the front of his car. And I was saying they're still coming across the track here in front of some of these drivers. And so we talked about the 87 Raymond Rittenauer, and you see right here, he's a little bit there off the back. He's, I'd say, obviously not an easy thing to do here. So he's kind of trying to run it through the grass and not get caught up in anything. Just misses, does a little bit of a ramp there through the dirt, but is able to get through cleanly. And so that's going to, like I said, that's going to get us back under yellow here. A lot of drivers here. Oh, you can see a little further back, the 18 Roy Grant. You can see that car just tracking off in the angle there. That car is in big trouble there. Now the question is, do any of these drivers have any faster pairs remaining? And also, were any of these drivers that were 1 lap down, were any of them not involved? We saw the 00. He got caught up in that of Thomas Holder, I believe. But yeah, there's definitely Thomas Holder. I'd say that answers that question. However, was Brian Pierce, was he able to get through cleanly or not? Because that could be the lucky dog position for him. Or will it wind up going to the 25? Nope, here he goes. There goes Brian Pierce. He's going to get his lap back. So that's going to be a big break for Raymond Rittenauer. It's going to prevent Kevin Freeze from getting back onto lead lap in that 25 machine. which right now is, you can see Kevin here, he's going to catch up to the back of the field. But more importantly for Kevin, though, is this is going to put him back to just being, he's just one lap down. He was within seconds of going 2 down before that caution came out. So a big break for Kevin to not be trapped 2 down, so at least he can now fight for a chance to, if there's another caution before the white flag, to be able to maybe get back onto that lead lap. So we'll check on the drivers in the pits. So you see Charles Johnson there. Still looks like he's getting damage repaired to his car. In that number 9 machine, Jim Brooks, he's coming through. Looks like, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's a fast repair for that 76 car, because it was in much worse shape prior to this one. Although I still see, I'm curious, I feel like I see a little bit of damage still on that car. We'll take a look around. Yeah, that right rear spoiler still looks like it's got a little bit of damage to it, so may not be a fast repair actually. But that being said, though, that car looked a lot worse off when it entered than where it came out now. Unfortunately, Eric Laurie, I believe he is, yeah, he's still in the pits getting some damage repaired to his car. So right now, I'll say the 2 drivers still sitting in the pits. And then actually, as I said, here comes Eric. He's going to come out of the pits now. Try to make sure he stays on the tail end of the lead lap, I believe. Yeah, he's still on the lead lap here. Unfortunately, we have had the 8 of Dude Conrad. He has retired from the event. Thomas Holder still in the pits. And actually, say here he comes out of the pits now. He's still 1 lap down. The 9 of Charles Johnson. Yep, here Charles gets rolling too. Oh, so actually what happened to Charles is he had to tow. That car was actually, he had a fast repair still in his pocket, but the problem was that he had to take a tow, as I believe he probably got stuck up in the wall there, or up in the catch fence. And so he had to take a tow, and that's what put him a lap down in that number 9 machine. So right now the battle for the Lucky Dog position is going to be the 25 of Kevin Freeze, as we see him here at the start-finish line. The 00 of Thomas Holder, who I don't think is going to be very competitive with that modified that he's unfortunately driving at the moment. That car's in definitely rough shape. And then, like I mentioned, the 9 of Charles Johnson, who just got a fast repair on his machine. So those are going to be the 3 drivers trying to see if they can maybe get a one more caution and try to get one of those drivers back onto the lead lap here. However, lights are off of the pace car, and we are going to be restarting here with 2 to go. So this is going to be, actually I believe this is going to be an unofficial green-white checkers. We have 3 to go now, so we're going to restart here with 2 to go. And so again, the way it works is if a caution comes out before the white flag flies, we'll stack them up and we'll do it up to 2 more times. However, if there's a caution after the white flag, from there they will race back to the finish. So again, I believe we're still right now at the scheduled 75 lap distance mark of the event. However, if there's another caution before that white flag flies, we'll be doing it at least up to 3 times. As again, as I mentioned, right now we're still in the scheduled distance for tonight's race. And at this point, I mean, aggression's definitely going to be ramping up here. I mean, at this point, you're going to have to do what you can to make a run for it. Obviously, we mentioned again the points implications for tonight's race. Gabe Butler retired in the 25th position. Right now, Kevin Freeze fighting to be the first car 1 lap down in 20th. And then a little further back in the points entering tonight, though, that 87 of Raymond Rittenauer now up into that 12th position. So him riding in the back there, just trying to be patient. Looks like that's paid off for him for the moment. He's still got to survive 2 more laps, at least 2 more laps here at Talladega. All right, pace car is in. Say it's up to that 83 of Jack Walls when he wants to go, and he is waiting for the moment here. I think they're going to wait till that green flag flies just to keep everybody bunched up together. So say if you get a lead here, you're going to get gobbled up, and so sure enough, Jack Walls gets back down the road. So we'll see who's able to get the push on the inside or the outside. You've got Jack Walls, Everett Lane on the inside. Outside, you've got the 94 of Maxwell Caldwell, Brandon Pascal, as well as the 10 of Corey Lane. And here comes that 3rd line. They're not going to waste time. They're going to try to make that line start happening now. Looks like Raymond Rinner are going to lead that group as well. I believe he's got the 18, I think I saw behind him, of Roy Grandy. So we'll keep an eye on that group as they come through the backstretch. into the travel, see if they can get to the white flag again. If they do, that will make this race finish under, I should say, within regulation, I guess you'd say. But again, like I said, still have to get to that line. It looks like they will make it. So here, white flag is out right now. Again, Jack Wall still leading the way. He's got the 94 Maxwell Caldwell to his outside. Right now, Jack's best friend is going to be that number 24 of Everett Lane. So we'll see. Right now, that top line did not work. You can see the 87. He's fallen back, actually. So right now, the inside and middle lanes are where you want to be. So as things stand right now, everybody's staying 2 by 2 up front. You see pretty much 4 cars on each row here working as hard as they can to make it to the front. But right now, that inside line just seems to have the momentum. As I say that, though, I see Brandon Paslakwa. He is locked onto that bumper of the 94 Maxwell Caldwell. So we'll see as they come through the travel here for the final time. Right now, Jack Wall still has the edge over the 24. Behind him on the inside line. Looks like they're going to be stuck where they are. And at the line, Jack Wall is going to get the win. Everett Lane going to finish in second. I believe Maxwell Caldwell is going to grab that third place. Or no, I'm sorry, it looks like Michael Spell actually going to get the third position over Maxwell Caldwell. And fourth will be Maxwell. Top 5, Dean Wilkinson. And 6th will be that number 21 of Brandon Pasalakwa. 7th, Corey Lane. 8th, Dale Willoughby. 9th, Todd Merkel. And rounding out the top 10, Eugene Vernon coming all the way back from, I believe, 2 laps down to finish up into that top 10. Jump back and take a look at that run to the finish here so we can kind of get a better look to see who was where. So you can see them as they come across the finish line. You can see that the 24 of Everett Lane just locked onto the back bumper of Jack Walls. And sure enough, you can see as they come across the finish line here, Michael Spell just a nose ahead there of that 94 Maxwell Caldwell. So that will give Michael the top 3 position there tonight. Maxwell in 4th, and then Dean Wilkinson just able to edge out the 21 of Brandon Pasalakwa for 5th. However, our race winner right there in that bright yellow Pennzoil machine of Jack Walls, say getting it done tonight, and say Jack again. I mean, Jack's definitely one to say if you can get him in position, he's gonna do everything he can to try to get these wins, and they did that tonight. Great work between himself. I'm sure Everett Lane, he's gonna be very happy with all the help he can get there from him. So as we watch Jack here come through 3 and 4, and we'll watch him do some celebrations here as we're gonna try to find our top 3 and get some interviews with them tonight. So trying to see if I can find Everett Lane. Haven't found him yet. However, we'll definitely be able to grab Michael Spell to start things off here. So say first we'll watch that 83 car celebrate here at the start finish line. So again, Jack Walls is one of those drivers that used that pit strategy. He went with the 2-stopper. Caution came out just the perfect time, and it worked out just where he needed to. Same thing for Corey Lane in the 10 car, able to bring it home in that 7th spot as well. So I think the 83 is going to burn this thing down until that motor blows, it looks like here. And there, yep, there it goes. And I say Jack did I say you can see the donuts he did there. I say they were about perfect there for him. However, I said we got to go grab our 2nd place finisher, though, that number 88 of Michael Spell. Get an interview with him here. All right, pulling in that number 88, Michael Spell, grabbing the 3rd position there. So you guys were locked on together on that inside on that restart. So usually we see the outside line kind of able to use the momentum at the end, but you and you, Everett, and Jack were just, you guys were all hooked onto each other there, and you definitely made that inside line work there at the end.
Yeah, I was doing all I can to stay as close as I could to Everett, because I was hoping he was pushing Jack hard enough that we could keep that outside line from getting that run, which I was surprised they didn't get a run at some point during that lap.
Yeah, you guys were hooked onto each other perfectly there. Just as they made that bottom line work to get it done at the end. I mean, obviously, kind of a tale of two races there. I mean, green flag for over half the race for sure. And then say had that caution come out, and then just say kind of just everything changed from there in the pit strategies of a two stopper, three stopper. You were one of those drivers that went for the kind of didn't stretch it as far as a few of them, like Corey. I think Jack was one of them as well. I think he pitted maybe a lap but before them. How tight were you going to be on fuel had it gone into a green white checkered situation?
Oh, I was good. I had an extra 4 laps, I think, when we finished, so I had plenty. Yeah, I got caught up on the second run there. I got kind of caught on the outside as a lead car on the outside, so I burned a little more fuel. So I had to come in a lap earlier than Jack and them did. But we had it planned out pretty well so that we could make it to the end. And then that caution came out, and we thought it kind of threw a wrench in everything, but it worked out.
Yeah, so it actually kind of worked out as kind of the way everything panned out there. You guys did an awesome job, like I said, working together. I mean, it was kind of that. It was kind of a three different packs of cars for a good chunk of it. Obviously, with the group of like Raymond Rittenauer and company being the one group, you guys were in that second group, and then there was another group that may have just kind of fallen off the draft or the lead draft, I should say, after the pit stop cycles were through. So say it was kind of interesting to see how everybody was kind of running differently. Did you guys have any strategies on the drafting side of things? I know there's kind of two mindsets on if you have a big enough group running single file versus running 2x2 to be faster. Was that something that you guys were talking about in that draft pack?
No, not really. I mean, we just, our biggest thing was let's just stay together in a pack. We didn't really strategize much about, who's going to be behind who or who's going to go to the outside or whatever. The biggest thing was we wanted to stay together.
Yeah, so I mean, it worked out well. So obviously, the caution definitely brought everybody back together, and as they went from maybe a fuel mileage strategy race to just almost an all-out brawl there, if you will, at the end. But again, I mean, a great job for you, Michael. Able to say, unfortunately, you're kind of pinned to the bottom, so you were kind of stuck where you were regardless. So you didn't get a chance to maybe try to make something happen on the top side with those green white checkers. You don't get a lot of opportunity to get it up to speed and get going. But you guys made that inside line work and grabbed that third spot. So. Congrats on that, and definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shout outs you'd like to give.
Yeah, 10-4. Yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled with third. I mean, I'm just happy that Jack won, and we finally beat Gabe Butler and company. I mean, we've been trying and doing everything we can, and I'm just thrilled that we were finally able to do it. They finally had some bad luck to allow us to do it, but. Yeah, I'm not sure if my dad's watching tonight, but shout out to him if he's watching. And then, all the admin to Very 51. I mean, Charles just have to step back a little bit this year because of his work commitments and stuff. But, big shout out to him. I mean, he's done so much to bring us to where we are, and just, I really appreciate it. So, and to you, of course, for the great work that you do on televising us.
Yeah, you guys put on an awesome show tonight. It was fun to watch, and say I hope your dad was able to catch it. I'll say if not, of course, you'll find the link. You can send it over to him and say you can get him where the highlights are at for you.
Oh yeah, you bet, man. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too, Michael. Great job, man. All right, bringing it home in second. Unfortunately, I don't see him in Discord, though. Was that 24 of Everett Lane, our pole sitter, though. So started first, finished second, so great run for Everett there. So hopefully we'll maybe get him on Discord next time. We'll be able to get a word with him as well. So he did an awesome job tonight. Said he was the one to push our race winner in that 83 of Jack Walls to the win tonight. So I'll say definitely a great job by Everett getting it done here this evening as well in that second position. However, we got to talk about the person who he did push to that victory lane, and saying it's that bright yellow Pennzoil machine of Jack Walls getting the win tonight here at Talladega. You and Jim and I believe it was Corey that you guys went with that long strategy, try to do the 2 pit stop strategy, and then I mean it looked like you're going to be able to make it to the end if it had stayed green, but then that caution fell right as you guys were pitting, and I'll say from there it looked like it kind of just fell into your lap, and then from there you just made sure you did not let go of that front spot.
Right. Yep. I was saving fuel when I could, except when I was leading, of course. But I was able to make it to lap 25 before I had a pit. And then able to get to lap 51. I knew I was going to make it to the end just on the 2 stops. And then, of course, that caution came out. And we didn't know what was going to happen after that. But the team admins, we were doing pretty good there. We thought we were going to have a pretty good finish. Maybe the 5 tops top 5 spots there because we were all going to make it to the end there after that.
Yeah, you guys did a really good job in the strategy. Like I said, I mean, that worked out just to a T to you guys for when the caution fell. It would have been really curious to see how it would have cycled through if it had gone green to the end, of course, as well, because again, you guys were going to have that one less stop, and you would have had drafting help. I mean, you would have had yourself, you would have had Jim, and you would have had Corey. So it would have been interesting to see if you guys were able to make something happen with the three of you to maybe fight off that team at the end. But so obviously the circumstances change, and say obviously the game plan changed as well. And from there, you guys just like fought hard. So you kept up front that whole final run there, and brought it home here.
Yeah, well, I owe a lot of that to the pushers. Maxwell there was pushing me for up there at the end, and then Everett Lane stayed with me up until the very end. I was waiting for him to make a move to the outside, but he stayed there, and I was shocked. I said, oh, this is going to be good for me. So I appreciate that from Everett, but I had a bunch of other pushers during the race. Charles Johnson, he was pushing me, and Brandon Pasalakwe, he was pushing. So we worked out well together tonight. It worked out in our favor. So it's been a long time since I've been in Victory Road here.
Well, and I think that's part of it too, though. I mean, Jack, is when you mentioned say you had the guys willing to work with you, and it's one of those things you put yourself in these positions, and say you kind of put yourself as like one that they know that they can trust, and that they feel comfortable with pushing. I'm saying that's where you get those situations. I feel like because unfortunately there's those times where you maybe see the guy that maybe can't hold a line very well or things like that, and you become kind of tentative. Like I don't know if I want to push that guy. I'm afraid I'm going to get caught up in something. So I think that also speaks volumes for what you're able to do at these races as well, to make those drivers comfortable and willing to be able to draft with you to make these races here, push them to the end and get those wins.
Yeah, that's very important. It's if you're trying to push somebody and they're moving back and forth, of course you can't get right up on their bumper, and you can't really go as fast. So tonight, all those guys who were pushing me did an excellent job. I can't say enough for how well they pushed.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job. I'd say it was a great job on that restart as well, holding the inside line. So you usually talk about the middle top line being the momentum, but like I said, you Everett, Michael, I mean, you guys made that bottom line work and actually gained some momentum as well. So great job. I say definitely want to give you the floor though, to celebrate that win, and any thanks shouts you'd like to give for that tonight.
Yeah, I want to thank all my team members there, Michael Spell, Brandon, Dean, Jim Brooks, and Charles Johnson, and I hope I didn't forget anybody. And thank you guys for doing the broadcast. I watch the shows every week, after every race. It's fun to watch.
Yeah, so I love being a part of this. And say sometimes I miss racing, but say when you guys put on these races like this, it's hard not to enjoy doing this as well. So yeah, great job tonight, Jack. Like you said, it's been a little bit since you got victory lane, but say it definitely makes it that much sweeter as well. So definitely enjoy this one, and look forward to catching you again here soon.
Right, and of course a big thanks to Pennzoil for giving me the bright yellow car. But tonight it was the Chevy instead of the Toyota. Maybe that made the difference.
Yeah, you never know. But as long as it's yellow and you're driving it, it's gonna have a chance to win these things.
That's a big 10-4. You have a good night.
Thank you, sir. You as well. Congrats.
Thanks.
All right, that is our race winner, that number 83 of Jack Walls, getting the job done tonight here at Talladega. Had an unofficial green-white checker to finish tonight at this one. However, let's go through our final results for tonight's event. As we saw, getting the win there, Jack Walls by just over half a tenth of a second over Everett Lane. Michael Spell bringing it home third over Maxwell Caldwell. Dean Wilkinson in fifth. Brandon Pasalak was sixth. Corey Lane in seventh. Dale Willoughby eighth. Todd Merkel in ninth. And like you mentioned, Eugene Vernon, great recovery for him, bringing it back into the top 10. 11th through 20th here, you've got Roy Grandy there. Travis Turnmeyer, Raymond Rittenauer winds up 11th after everything is all said and done. Probably wanted to get a little more out of that one, but still, I think it's going to really close the points gap between those three. Jim Brooks 14th, Joe McAdory in 15th, Brian Pierce, Paul Patterson, Eric Lurie, Charles Johnson. Kevin Free is going to bring it home in the 20th position. And then 21st through 27th, you have Thomas Holder, Andrew Plushy, Dude Conrad, Matt Quick, and then our points leader coming in tonight, Gabe Butler finishing in the 25th position. Diego Vasquez 26th, and Paul Fletcher in 27th. So I believe after tonight, there's 3 more to go in the season. Points are going to be much tighter between our top 3 going into next week's race as well. So it is going to probably come down to the wire between those 3 teammates. We'll see who's going to be the one to wind up on top at the end. So definitely look forward to seeing how that's going to shake out. So again, I want to thank you all for joining us tonight here on Green White Checker TV for the Area 51 Racing League Super Speedway Cup Series at Talladega. Congrats, of course, to our race winner Jack Walls and our top 3 Everett Lane and Michael Spell. And so, of course, we'll be back again on Tuesday for the Indy Series. And until then, of course, as always, if you can, please try to stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, and until Tuesday, have a good night.